All right. It is Wednesday. We're coming to you all live from Invest in Education Academy. Today we have an absolute treat. We actually have our intern, Ami, who will be sitting in on this meeting. And this is really cool for us because we get to get the millennial take on some of the subject matter we normally come to you all. But more importantly, it shows like, IA is really dedicated to, showing or exposing our younger people to the world of finance as we see it, right? Because then they get to show us how they see it. So it's kind of a mutually beneficial relationship. And Ami has been doing an amazing job with us. You may have seen her if you're an IA member inside the platform, talking to people, posting, doing research for us. So with that being said, I'm gonna let her introduce herself. And Ami, if you could give everyone an introduction of who you are.
Sure. Good evening, IA members. My name is Almi Way, and as Brent mentioned, I am currently an intern with Brent and Leon. Just a little bit of background about myself. I'm actually the founder and CEO of LiveWise Financial, which is a coaching service for millennials in need of financial help. And I'm also a proud Bowie State alumna, class of 2015 from BSU. So shout out to all the Bowie State alumni and alumna out there. And I'm excited to put my input from the millennial perspective of things tonight. And the topic we're actually talking about, I chose cryptocurrency because I want to, discuss tonight a little bit of what's going on and to give you a little more input.
All right, and Leon, while I do the housekeeping, if you can tell us why you chose this topic. I mean, what we'll be talking about today.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So like, Ami chose the topic, but it was right on point. And she chose the topic like a few days ago, so it wasn't like it was timed up. And then, so the reason we chose this topic for today is anyone that's trading crypto, that's in the crypto market knows what happened today. The market absolutely, positively imploded. I got a call from, I didn't even know, right? So I got a call from a friend of mine this morning at about a little after 9 a.m. I was doing some other things. And he called me, was like, dude, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Put up my phone. At that time, my crypto account was down 20%. 20%. I woke up to a 20% negative. Throughout the day, right about around noon, I was down 35%. And so people are texting me, calling me, like, yo, what the hell's going on? Is crypto a scam? Like, what in the world? And even I was even freaked out because, like Brent always said, we've been in this game for almost 30 years. We've been through a number of crashes. But to see so to give people perspective, the pandemic crash, the COVID crash in March of last year, that dropped 35% in 30 days, in 1 month. This morning, I woke up to essentially a 30% crash in my crypto account. Freaked me the hell out. I'm not even gonna lie. I was even like, okay, what is really going on? Elon Musk hadn't said anything in the last 24 hours. I hadn't heard any crazy news coming out of anywhere in the last. So I was really freaked out. So I did a little research. And full transparency, Brent and I freak out too, right? Like, seeing your account down 35%. I don't care how long you've been doing this game. That's a tough setup. That's a tough thing to see. So when I did some research, what I found out was one of the, again, we never know exactly why anything happens, but one of the reasons that's been attributed to the drop today, one was Elon Musk, just kind of the whole fallout from what he said about a week or two ago. But the other thing was China. So China came out last night and effectively said they're banning all cryptocurrency transactions in the country into perpetuity. Like, there can be no trading, there can be no banking, there can be no staking, there can be no custodian, nothing. No institution can play in the cryptocurrency space. One thing they left open was they said individuals can buy crypto, but that's kind of like misleading because there's no way to buy it really in China. As far as I know, from what I read, because the exchanges there, I believe, either are going to be shut down or they're going to be very limited on what they can do. So China has really,
I think they're limiting them on what they can do. Okay,
so China really is putting a chokehold on cryptocurrency trading in China, in which kind of the broader Asia. The other countries on the Asian continent have not, but China being the second largest economy in the world next to the U.S., that's a big deal. So the market kind of freaked out by that. And again, Elon Musk with this whole thing about a week ago saying how they're pulling back from crypto. because of the whole environmental thing, which is really funny because
yeah, and it was actually specifically Bitcoin, right?
yeah,
And so he was talking about the mining and the impact that coal and energy has on like the world.
but there was a study put out by one of these big firms out here that does studies, and they actually said that what they're saying is that that's actually not true. If you actually look at the data, what they're saying either most or the majority now of cryptocurrency mining electricity is actually coming from renewable energy, so solar, wind, things like that. Because these crypto miners know that, hey, this regulation is coming. So instead of going out here and looking like they're running a dirty business, they're actually looking for places that actually have clean energy. And I know some of the like Switzerland, some of these Nordic countries I know are doing a lot of miners are setting up there because they're almost essentially all renewable energy anyway.
And
Leon, energy anyway. So
Leon, let me jump into this. Is purely a plug. And so for anybody who is not in the IEA Crypto Bulls, you should join, because we found out a way that you can actually become a miner at no cost with your cell phone. And me and Leon just every day we're mining, and in the
we're mining right now.
Yeah, I'm mining right now too. So, but it's something we found out through the mastermind, and it's just so much good information coming from it. If you're thinking about joining the IEA Crypto Bulls, you should. We're at about 13 members roughly, and we're going to cut it off at between 25 and 30. So we're only 16, 15 people from that final number where we're cutting it out. It's $200 a month. When we hit that number, we are shutting down our first cohort, and that's the cohort directly with Leon and I. And then we're starting cohort number 2, and that's going to be $300 a month. And so if you are waiting, if you're thinking about it, if you're peeking around the corner, that's all I'm gonna say. But yes, I had to say that because it goes back to that clean energy piece. We're mining with our phones, and so it's a lot of ways that you can mine. And some people are missing this boat, and it's a boat you don't want to miss.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people were like looking at like he's getting a lot of, I don't say death threats, but he's getting a lot of flack thrown his way for this thing he came out with, because people are like, yo, dude, like do your research. Like actually mining Bitcoin with a lot of these miners now, they're actually using renewable energy. So a lot of people are mad at him for that, because it's like you didn't really do your research. You just kind of ran out there, and probably because he's getting a lot of flack from either regulators or shareholders, because they're this clean energy company, but everyone perceives mining in crypto to be something of a dirty field because you're using coal-powered electricity, which actually in some instances is not true. So the reason what we're covering today is we're covering, like last week our topic was don't panic, related to the stock market. It's funny how this week is the same exact topic but related to crypto. And this is actually this is even stronger, because I mean, like I said, I woke up to essentially a 30% drop in my crypto account. And it took a month back in the pandemic for the stock market to drop 30%. So this is I mean, people that are in this game are really, like, I got some texts and some emails from people today, and people were really, really shaking. But as I told people, so late last night inside the IEA platform, I put out a post letting everybody know, like, yo, look, crypto is down huge right now, huge. I think last night it was down around 15 or 20%. It kind of fluctuated, but it was down around 15 to 20%. And I was like, look, if you have money on the sideline, if you have dry powder, now is the time to dip your toe. If you haven't dipped it in yet, dip your toe in. But if you already have some, buy a little more. Because again, we're in this game 3, 5, 10 years, a 15, 20, 25% correction in a couple hours in crypto. While crypto is volatile and it does correct way more than the stock market, this was a very, very fast drop in crypto. So I put this out saying, hey, everyone, if you can, try to get some. And Brad, if you could pull up the slide.
Yeah, and also too, while I'm pulling it up, you gotta think you have 30 or more % of new crypto, like these altcoins, coming out of Asian marketplace. So when people get news like this, it makes sense for them to freak out. But crypto is not going anywhere. They're going to be, and this is actually a governmental risk, right? And so when you understand like the risk factors involved in the stock market, it's very similar to the risk factors involved in cryptocurrency. Governmental risk is one Leon and I have talked about on these lives before, because if a government comes out, which it did, and says, something to this effect, it has an immediate, the market has an immediate response, in this case, the cryptocurrency marketplace. So as we talk about the cryptocurrency marketplace, think about the other risk factors, because, inflationary risk. And so even with some of these companies, and some of you all know who you are buying very volatile cryptocurrencies, expecting that they will always just continue to win. That's not the case. And so as I pull up the slide, we're going to talk about, really how much time do you have to be in the market? Because that's going to be very important. And, when you talk about somebody who's Almi's age versus Leon now versus Leon and Now's parents, these are different perspectives on how long you have to possibly recover. So we're going to talk about all these things today, and just kind of, stick with us.
Yeah. So what I want to show on this slide is I'm just going to kind of show the speed of the drop, and then why I was kind of beating the drum last night to the IA members, saying, hey, look, if you have some dry powder, if you have some money sitting on the side, now's the time you may want to make, like I said, kind of dip your toe.
Yeah, where do you get the dry powder thing from?
I don't know. I didn't look it up. But dry powder means money on the side. I don't know where.
I know what it means.
Yeah,
I never heard you use it before.
I need to Google that. Yeah, where did it came from? But FYI, dry powder means money sitting on the sidelines to invest. That's so when you hear us say that term. So what we're looking at on this chart here, we have a chart of so this is the crypto market. And so what this chart is showing, at the top, you see what it says cryptocurrencies, top left. It's showing 9,951 cryptocurrencies. So this is almost like an index, right? It's tracking all 9,000, now there's actually more than 9,000. Yeah. This one is tracking 9,000 cryptos in the marketplace.
There's over 12,000.
There's over like 12,000. But so at the far right of this chart, the timestamp of that chart at the far left is 8 p.m. last night. And this is around the time where I was starting to notice the market was starting to take a hit. So then around like 12 o'clock in the morning, I put out the message to the IA members saying, hey, look, things are falling, the market's starting to drop here. If you have some money on the side, maybe look to make a purchase either now or in the morning. Well, by the morning came to the bottom. So we're looking at the far left is 8 p.m. last night. All the way at the bottom reached that deep spike is 9 a.m. this morning. So from 8 p.m. last night to 9 a.m. this morning, 13 hours, cryptocurrency market dropped 30%. Now again, I'm gonna give that point of comparison. The stock market back in the COVID drop in March dropped 35% in 1 month. Crypto dropped 30% in 13 hours. I woke up to a 30% drop in my crypto account. This speaks to the volatility of crypto. Again, nothing wrong with that. Volatility is what it is. It's just part of the market. But again, we always say, size your trades, make sure, it fits your suitability. I'm not, crypto is only like in total, like 15-20% of my whole portfolio. The rest is stocks and options and some future stuff. So I know I know never to go too big into anything that's this volatile, but I know it's a great opportunity too. Volatility brings opportunity. So far left of the chart, 8 p.m. Bottom of the chart is 9 a.m. the next morning. 30% drop in 13 hours. Really, really, really crazy. Now, but here's why I was telling everyone, look to start buying if you can, because from the lows at 9 a.m. up to basically right now, a little before we came on, the market actually started dropping again. But when this chart was actually taken, the picture of the chart was taken from the bottom at 9 a.m. this morning to basically today, it was up. The market was up 50. It was anywhere from 15 to 20%. So you're looking at a 15 to 20% gain in less than 10 to 12 hours. And this is why I was telling everybody, hey, look, if you can, buy some now. Now, does that mean the market will go up from here or down? We have no idea. We never know where the market's going to go. But I know that the market was down 30% from its recent high. And anytime you get a pullback like this in any sort of market, you want to start dollar cost averaging your way in. And all that means is just buying small chunks as it's dropping. Not saying go all in, but definitely starting, term we use is another term is quote unquote nibbling as it's going down, just buying small chunks as it's going down. And like I said, from 9 a.m. to now, that was a 15% gain. Remember, the stock market, again, on average returns 10% per year. So had people, anyone who bought kind of the lows or, this morning when they woke up, you got a 50% return in a couple hours. And then, all of a sudden we're in this for the long haul out another, 3, 5, 10 years, you're going to, you're going to look back and be like, why didn't I buy more around these lows? Because again, you get a 30% drop, a huge discount in things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are the mainstays of the crypto market. It's I look at it as almost like a gift. And I was actually mad. I didn't buy this morning because I'm essentially fully invested in crypto and I've hit my limit, so I can't go above. I have to wait till either I get more profits from crypto or I move some more money into crypto. But right now I'm fully invested in crypto because I know it's a volatile product. And I'm not going any bigger than that 10 to 15% of my overall portfolio. So another real quick point is that from that low, that 9 a.m. low to the high last night at 8 p.m., that would be a 51% return. So anyone that bought around this morning, 10 o'clock this morning, just crypto getting back to where it was last night would be a 51% return on your money. So imagine, right now it's kind of going sideways, but over the next day or so, if it gets back to the highs of yesterday, you made 51% like that, right? And is it going to do that? I have no idea. It could go lower. But the point is that there was a huge discount, a 30% discount in the crypto market that all of us could have taken advantage of. We let our IA members know. I know some members actually did take advantage and made some pretty good money today. So this is what happened today in the market. Tanked 30% out the gate. A lot of people were freaking out. Brent and I would say, we're in this for the long haul. Know what you're buying. And I even posted. I was saying, if you don't know what to buy, what cryptos to buy, the main three that we always talk about are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That's almost like buying like Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, right? Like those are like the foundations.
Buying into the fame.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're buying into the fame, buying into that popularity contest. Those are the foundation for the crypto market. So those are the three I was saying. If nobody knew, just look to buy some of those. But as we said last week, no need to panic, no need to stress. This is a crazy volatile market, but volatility breeds opportunity. This 30% drop we had is a huge opportunity over the next 3, 5, 10 years. So I hope some people. It's not too late either, right? Because the market is still right before we came on. It was starting to pull back again. So we're nowhere near back to the highs of yesterday. So there's still opportunity. You haven't missed anything. But again, size it to your account size, to your suitability, so you can sleep at night and not worry about the volatility that crypto has.
Yeah, Ami, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, for one, I like the dry powder. I'm gonna use that next time. Next time I got some dry powder. And for you mentioned, I just wanted to go back into the China. Mm-hmm. So with China being, the second largest economy and, with a population of over 1 billion, anything they do really does affect not only the US, but a lot of the world. So if China's like banning no crypto, saying no crypto or reducing, what they can do, it definitely explains why, everybody was like panic, and more panic because they're like, okay, if China can't do this, then why should I do this? And, what's going on? And everyone kind of knows how strict China can be. So if they say no crypto, they mean no crypto. They're not going to be flip-flopping back between their decision. So my question would be for people out there, who are interested in buying crypto or even, millennials like myself, what would be a good way to handle that stress or handle that panic as well if you're like new to the market?
One thing.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
One thing you got to think, millennials and people who are, younger than millennial market, you have even more time to invest. And so similar to when we talk about buy and hold, we talk about, secure, established brands or companies that have strong financials. You also look at cryptocurrency, like, what are the cryptos that are the backbone of the cryptocurrency space? And that's going to go back to really Ethereum, then Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin. And there's a lot of others who, are definitely competitors in that space and up and coming. So looking at the millennial marketplace, I think you kind of manage that anxiety, understanding that you have time to recover, number one. And then two, it's about, even though at this point, if you're already investing, you're panicking, it's counterintuitive, but, making sure that you manage the size of your asset allocation. So if you're taking 50% of everything that you have everywhere, you're a dry powder. That's gonna crack me up, dude. That's gonna crack me up. But if you're taking 50% and you're investing because you thought this was gonna pay for your house, and now all of a sudden you're panicking because you're like, that was my house money. That was the money I was gonna use to get my dream car or a car. That's when you were overweighted and you really shouldn't have been positioned that way in the first place. So I'm not gonna say it, but there's a good chance you're not an IA member because one thing we preach is making sure that you are investing and really in crypto. We've talked only about curious money and risk capital. Like those have really been the only two type of capital that Leon and I have talked about as it relates to cryptocurrency. It is a very new marketplace and it's extremely volatile. And I'm gonna tell you, even the craziest thing is for many of the millennials that may be feeling anxiety, like many of us who have invested in cryptocurrency starting like last year, we're still up from where we invested. Like it's, I mean, if you're purely in Bitcoin, okay, that might be different. But for most of us, we're still up. And also, historically speaking, remember the pullback when Bitcoin, I think, hit like what was it, 20,000 and then went down to 3,000?
Yeah, 2000 end of 2017. It hit 20,000 in 2017 and crashed by 80% in 2018 and bottomed out at 3,000.
Yeah, 3,000 went from 20,000 to $3,000. I mean, imagine waking up to that, right? But now it went up to hit 60. So had you had the patience to wait for the recovery, it was coming, but it takes, you know, patience and the proper allocation to be able to ride it out.
Yeah, for me, the main thing is the allocation, right? If you have $10,000, there's no way you should have $5,000 in crypto. Like it should maybe be 2,000, maybe 20%, 1,500 to 2,000 for me would be max. But no, I mean it's the way you manage that that anxiety is don't over leverage your position. Don't be too big in your size, so that when things like this happen, your account doesn't automatically tank, 30, 40, 50%. You're down maybe a couple percentages because it's such a small allocation of your account. So that's what I would say the best thing to do to be able to handle that anxiety is don't have that anxiety by limiting the size of your account. Sorry, limiting the size of your position in crypto.
So the term when people say, go big or go home, that's not necessarily always the best thing, right? Because then
that's never the best thing. No. Okay, me speaking for myself, that is like this whole YOLO mentality in investing. Yeah, no, I mean, no, like that's a way to blow. I've blown an account before, right? And blowing the account means I've essentially lost all my money in an account, and I did it doing stuff like that, doing the whole YOLO mindset, going really big on positions, praying. I mean, there were some nights I couldn't even sleep because I knew how big I was in certain positions, and I'll be checking my phone every 5 minutes throughout the night. Like it was crazy. But yeah, so I've been there, done that. That YOLO mentality. I mean, I don't recommend it. Some people are, energy junkies, but it's a quick way to blow up an account. That YOLO mentality, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, and if you're gonna go big or go home, make sure you have a home to go to, right? And there are people out here who are living in their, parents' house or they're in an apartment somewhere, and they know they're saving, right? They're saving for that thing, like whatever the next thing is for them. They're saving for the first kid. They're saving for tuition for college. And then there's still those people who are like, go big and go home. They're like, yo, you are saving for college tuition. Like, why would you go take your college tuition and invest it and blow it? You can't sleep. You can't sleep because depending on what happens in the market, you can't eat. And so you really can't lead when you're in need. And that you can't even lead yourself when you're in need. So, you really, truly, and it's a lot of people who get this whole thing like, okay, it's a difference between taking advantage of an opportunity and going big or going home. Taking advantage of an opportunity means that you are one of those people that has a little bit of dry powder sitting over there.
Don't forget the dry powder.
Yeah, I'm on that dry powder.
So, but I'm gonna go back to one of our originals. You're one of those people that has a little curious money sitting in an account that wasn't doing a whole lot anyway. If you are that person and you want to pull those funds out and maybe go heavy in a particular position, I would give it some strong consideration, but I wouldn't necessarily say you're wrong, because there's certain cryptocurrencies that are just stronger than the others. And if one that you're strong in has taken, a serious correction, it might be a great time to put some money in that you don't need, or it's not going to cost you to lose any sleep, and put a little bit more, increase your position in that particular cryptocurrency. But again, the same rules apply. Make sure it's a cryptocurrency that has a very strong utility in the space of cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrencies It's a horrible name. They really aren't currencies. They're like micro technologies, but we're going to stay away from that. But you have to make sure that the company you're investing in, because that's what you're doing when you buy cryptocurrency, you're investing in these companies, is a valid company that has a future, has a marketplace, and has a utility or a use for that particular coin.
Yep. Yeah. So on me, I guess to put a bow on it, two things. One, keep your position size low relative to your account size, and know that you have time, right? So know that you know, if you're a millennial investor, you know that you have, you know, I think millennials now are turning like 40, the higher end of it. So you have another, you know, at least 20, 30, maybe 40 years still in the market to invest. So keep your account size, keep your position size small relative to your account size, and then know that you have time. Yep.
And you know, it's kind of cool. We literally were just asked to teach this at a high school, like right now in the comments. So you know, we will reach out about us coming out. And if anybody else wants us to speak, we've spoken for family reunions. We've spoken to groups on Zoom. Leon and I actually did a keynote not that long ago for a conference that was going on financial literacy. And if you are out there and you're thinking, you know what, I really need to educate my tribe, my family on this, we charge a fee, but you know, we're happy to come out and speak. It's important. I mean, this is important stuff to know. And what's happening in cryptocurrency, this is that moment where you're going to wonder where you were. Like, this is the beginning of like the stock market. And anytime you start something like this, regulation has to catch up to it. Regulation has to adjust to it. Those that move too fast, they realize they move too fast. Those that move too slow realize it's just a lot of moving parts where the world is still getting acclimated to what cryptocurrency is and how to use it. So you're going to see, I mean, even from a tax standpoint, we always promote speaking to Attorney Beverly Winstead from the law office of Beverly Winstead, which is a tax firm. Many people are just sweeping this cryptocurrency thing under the rug and hoping nobody will see this lump growing into a huge pile of money and that the government will never tax them. And I'm telling you, it's a lot that we need to do in order to prepare ourselves for where this industry is going. And even with the IEA Crypto Bulls, we started that mastermind because there's so many people that know more than Leon and I. And we were like, you know what? It's the benefit of being part of a mastermind that gives us insight to all of these different cryptocurrencies. And even the fact I told you Leon and I are mining right now as we're doing this live. We're earning literally free cryptocurrency because we're part of this IEA Crypto Bulls and we've been privy to that information. Like, you have to become part of a tribe to really, truly get the insight on, you know, what's happening in the marketplace. But just from an Asian standpoint, and China in particular, you got to think about this. China was one of the first countries to come out with Bitcoin ATMs. And they were one of the first companies to start really using Bitcoin cryptocurrency as a whole, as currency throughout the country. There is it's highly unlikely that this will be a permanent position. It's very likely that the regulators right now, similar to in the US, you know, Biden just put in a cryptocurrency task force. And that task force is designed to go out and find people who aren't paying taxes in cryptocurrency. Again, shout out to Attorney Beverly Winstead. Please know what taxation is going to be like on cryptocurrency. But as these governments react and respond to how they're going to deal with cryptocurrencies, some are shutting down. Nigeria, they stopped allowing Bitcoin transactions like a year ago, almost at this point. Mm-hmm. But it still trades. It still trades.
They always find a way.
Always find a way. And the reason why China did this, and like you said, Brent, it may be temporary, but the reason they did this is because they just introduced their own countrywide cryptocurrency. So China now has, I think it's called the yuan. Is their currency? They now have a digital yuan, a cryptocurrency yuan that they don't want any competition for. So they've essentially banned crypto as a means of transaction. Citizens can still buy crypto, they can still trade crypto, but you just can't transact with crypto in the country in the Chinese Republic. You can only use their local yuan cryptocurrency. Yeah. So it wasn't a full ban because, again, local citizens there can trade it. They just can't transact it.
Yeah, and it's decentralized. So it's really not I mean, it's China though, so it's a whole nother.
Oh, they can shut down the internet from coming in. Like they can do, they can do.
So I was like, it's China, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you got to understand like where we're going. It's part of our infrastructure at this point. It's just a matter of how will they adjust and what will it look like when it comes out. Because then you're going to look at staking, and that's going to take us into a new conversation. But when people start staking and swapping, I can see a lot of opportunities in that marketplace, which again, not for this conversation. But if you are part of, IA Crypto Bulls recently, like our last meeting was pretty much about like going towards the discussion of what is swapping, what is staking. And it's going to have a place here. And actually, again, in the comments, we just had somebody say they saw their first Bitcoin ATM here in the US in Baltimore. And so one of the things that I know personally, I was looking at buying Bitcoin ATMs about like 7 months ago. So I do know they're available, and but it's still a lot of regulation that is yet to be established on cryptocurrency. So expect some more waves, and just be in a position where you have some curious money somewhere so you can invest. Because I promise you, if you can think about being there for the beginning of the stock market, and there were hiccups there. The stock market had to close. They have what are the triggers? What are the triggers called, Leon?
The circuit breakers?
Yeah, the circuit breakers have like triggered numerous times. I mean, they triggered on COVID. And so the market has shut down time and time again for adjustments. And the way people traded, the NASDAQ came about, it's about to go down the history.
Yeah, you about to go down a whole rabbit hole now. Hey, and real quick on regulation. So the head of I believe it's the SEC, and then the head of another body that regulates securities, basically came out this week or end of last week, and essentially like the head, I believe the head of the SEC, he wouldn't even call cryptocurrencies currencies, right? Because they see these as securities. Now, right now, there's no regulation around cryptocurrencies, but I think before Biden's first term is over, the U.S. government they're actually putting together now. They're putting together a big cryptocurrency review, and I believe, I don't know, but the way things are looking is that they're going to regulate cryptocurrencies as securities. So the same laws that govern stocks, will then govern cryptocurrencies. That's my belief. I don't know if it's going to happen. That's the way things are looking like they're going. And if that happens, then the SEC regulates all this. So there, the whole insider buying, the whole insider trading thing, which when you buy a certain amount of cryptocurrency, you have to report it. Like all the rules that are covered in the stocks will then be covered in the crypto. So there is regulation coming, and when it, like Brent said, when it drops, you'll probably have another reaction like this. But like everything else, it'll smooth out and then eventually most likely take back off. So there is governmental risk coming, but it's part of the game.
And you also too, when you have people who are ahead of certain curves because they are part of communities, and this wasn't news for them, and they knew these communities were plugged in, you have what's called profit taking. Again, same thing that happens in the stock market. People are like, oh, like this regulation's coming, let me take some profit. And they take that profit, but what happens is the general retail cryptocurrency investor only sees the trend line coming their way. They don't know what the catalyst was. Some people listening to this is the first time they heard what happened in the cryptocurrency marketplace and why it's dropping. This is the first time. And for those who are listening to our podcast, they're probably nodding your head while you're driving or exercising, thinking, yeah, this was my first time hearing it. And you have to be part of these groups because when you're ahead of it, you can actually profit take with people and then buy back in. Now, granted, Leon or I, sometimes we really preach about whole strategy. I'm personally going to say I've been buying in and out of some of these securities, and I've done pretty well doing it. And it's even with this recent dip, I got out of one of my positions and moved it to something else, and it worked out pretty well for me. Because again, you all have to understand, like the primary four being Ethereum, primary three really, Ethereum Classic and Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. There are 12,000 other cryptocurrencies out there. And I know Leon sent out his portfolio to the group, or part of his portfolio to the group, was last night, this morning?
Yeah, I think Tuesday.
Yeah, I sent mine out this morning, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we showed our positions and what's happening in them. not all the coins are down. So let me be very clear. Not all the coins are down. So, you know, wherever there's a bear market, there's a bull market somewhere else. Just do you know where it is? So, yeah.
Yep. Almi, any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, you know, as someone that I personally don't have crypto yet, it's good to have these type of conversations to know, okay, you know, what I can do, or anyone else that hasn't bought into cryptocurrency and looking, you know, wondering what should I do? You know, should I just stay away? But like we discussed, it's a good time to you know, buy with your dry powder. Okay, buy a little bit, a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way. Especially, and then if you are a millennial, even if you're not, you know, just give yourself also time to recover, because it is a volatile market and no one can really predict what's going to happen, right? We can hope, okay, it'll recover, but then what if it doesn't, right? So you don't, as Brent mentioned, don't use, you know, your house money or your tuition money to buy into these things, and also be, you know, be moderate. Don't put, you know, 90% of your money into just, you know, one cryptocurrency. But and overall, I think it's interesting to see how things play out in a day. I mean, in 24 hours, like you mentioned, Leon, I mean, 30% drop in the portfolio in 13 hours. I mean, that's astronomical.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
and it really is. And considering we're still recovering from the pandemic, and then have another drop like that, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people out here that just don't even want to invest anymore. So
yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure there are people out here that are really scared. Sorry, really scared of what happened. But like we told everybody last week, there's no reason to be scared. Just as long as you're positioned properly, you don't have 50% of your portfolio in crypto. You know, whatever that percentage that works for you. Just make sure it's not be enough where you're gonna blow your account. Position sizing, 1, and then 2, give yourself time.
And keep hope alive.
And keep hope. Yes, number 1. That's number 1 thing.
All right. So with that said, I'm super excited to, number one, have a young person with us who came from Bowie State University. You know,
All
definitely
right.
BSU, everybody out there represent. But
Yes.
to show, you know, we're not just doing this. We're not just out here just worried about Leon and not winning. You know, we're trying to pull people up with us, because if you are part of IEA, you absolutely know one thing we always do is just tell you the truth, our version of the truth, right? And that doesn't mean that it's the next person's version of the truth. But in that space, we're not trying to get you to have the big win. We're trying to have you have a very methodical growth of your money that's far exceeding anything that's happening in the savings account. Because if your money's in the savings account, you're losing. I am normally want to say that out loud. I will say it again. If your money's in the savings account, you are absolutely losing, because even with this drop, even with this precipitous drop in the cryptocurrency market space, I am still up like 200% in my crypto than I was when I first started investing. And I only started investing about a year ago. So, you know, it's just not happening in a savings account. It's just, if you have a savings account, please just bail out and find out what makes sense for you. And we're not saying liquidate and just hold the money in the shoebox. We are simply saying be responsible with the money that you have. Each dollar should be an employee, and you are an employer. You have to put every dollar to work. If you are not being a good employer, you will not have good employees. And that's just real for any business. And your money is no different.
And on that point with the savings account, you know, Brent always say, just to wrap it up, Brent always say how inflation eats away at your money, right? So inflation is typically 2-3% per year. This year, I mean, last year with the pandemic, it was more like 5 to 10%. This year, it's around that, or it's kind of around that number 2. But if you want to take our word for it, Google the CPI report. The CPI report came out last week. It will tell you what inflation is and how inflation is growing over the last, I think, 6 months to a year. So don't take our word from it. The government put out the numbers. It's called the CPI report. You can find out how inflation is. And the thing about the CPI report, real quick, it's actually not totally accurate, because what the government tracks as inflation are not the same things that you and I track, like, you know, milk and car notes and things like that. They track some other macroeconomic things, but it will give you an idea and show you how inflation is doing. But just know that inflation is actually like 2 times that number you're going to see in the CPI report. So just if anybody wants to go do their due diligence.
Yeah, and also too, if you're watching this, we challenge everybody watching this, listening to the podcast, or watching this tomorrow, call your bank, ask them what the interest rate on your savings account is, and just write it down and stare at it. So just call your bank, call your bank, call your bank, call your. I used to train bank managers. So I used to train bank managers on how to deal with high net worth individuals. I did that for like 4 years. So I was the person who walked in the bank to show them what to do when a high net worth person walked in their bank. So, I mean, this isn't, I'm not guessing, this is years of experience. And also just Google the national average for a savings account in the United States of America.
That last time I checked, it was 0.05%. Just absolutely pitiful.
So, I mean, with that being said, we owe you 2 stock picks. I am going to give you mine, and then Leon will give you his. I mean, you are good. I saw your face just now. She was like,
I didn't pick one.
Like, whoa.
Right.
No, you are exempt from this. So let me give mine first. So I'm going with the old time-tested Ford Motor Corp. Ford has been getting slapped in the face, but Ford Motor Corp, I mean, you're talking about a company that has a market cap of $48 billion. $48 billion is going to allow you to recover from most things. And additionally, we're moving. So Ford's big issue is the fact that it really never transitioned into or strongly transitioned into, not as strongly as like Toyota or Chevy, into the EV market space. And they definitely received backlash for that. You know, Chevy went full in, not full in, but Chevy definitely was one of the first runners to the.
You mean GM?
Yeah. No, yeah, GM, sorry.
GM, yeah.
And Ford really was slow mover to that space. And Toyota, I mean, everybody knows Toyota went full in. And Toyota, of course, even though not an American company, a lot of people kind of look at it as if it is. So Ford right now is starting to release their EV lineup. And I think personally, when their EV lineup comes out, it's going to be one that a lot of people have been waiting for, especially with the Ford F-150 going completely electric. And let me tell you, I think with their Ford, the Ford F-150, they're anticipating the towing capacity to be something like 6,000 pounds or more. And everybody thought for an EV that wouldn't be possible. And the truck looks like a truck, because our United States of America truck people are very particular about their Ford trucks. And so Ford is a leader in the pickup truck space. And so now that they're bringing EV to that environment, they're doing something very creative. They're actually designing their trucks to be able to power essentially a workstation, or go out to the woods. If you're using electric saws or anything else, you're actually able to generate and utilize the power or the energy inside of the trucks to run whatever equipment that you have. And I think that's going to be huge for them, especially when you get to those weekend warriors who just need a saw. They need to plug in real quick, and they can just plug into their trucks now. And they're using, again, clean energy. This is a game changer. So Ford Bronco's coming out. The F-150, I think there was announced recently, and Ford has another one that's coming out. But anyway, they're changing their platform, and they're really jumping into that EV space, which I think is going to save the company.
Yep. All right. So my pick is a little bit of a twist. My pick today is actually Ethereum. It's not a stock. I'm picking the crypto, going with the same kind of theme. And the reason is, so for people that don't know,
what's the ticker symbol, Leon?
It doesn't really I mean, it's ETH, but I mean,
because it's ETH USD is ETH CAD.
Yeah, well, I guess you can try ETH/USD and see if that does it.
While I'm doing this, everybody out there, just be careful, especially those people who have Robinhood accounts. Yeah. When you're buying cryptocurrency or stock, if you put in certain symbols, the symbols are the same, be it a stock or cryptocurrency. And so, like, for instance, I think one of them was like V. V is a cryptocurrency and it's a stock symbol. So if you just put in V, you really have to read the name of the company. Even just now when Leon said Ethereum, there was like an Ethereum USD, there was an Ethereum USDI, and it was an Ethereum CAD, which I don't even know what that is. So you just have to read what you're putting in now, because we're getting into that place where there are companies that are deriving huge benefits because people think they're buying cryptocurrency and they're buying companies.
Yep. Another one real quick is, so Ethereum's ticker symbol is ETH. Well, not its ticker symbol. It's like its currency symbol. But also ETH is the same symbol, the stock symbol for Ethan Allen. And Ethan Allen recently saw their stock climbing for like no real reason. And what everyone kind of figured out is that people were buying Ethan Allen thinking they were buying Ethereum. And so, like Brent said, and the only place you really run into this is Robinhood, because they're the only place that offers, that I know of, that offers crypto and stock on the same platform. And they have no distinction between, like, if you're buying crypto, at least when you go to buy, there's no distinction between you buying crypto or the stock. So you have to, like Brent said, actually read to see what you're actually buying when you put the symbol in.
And
so just be careful.
We got a question that just came in. For those of you all who, again, are listening to the podcast, watching this live, the question was, is crypto.com a good platform? So it depends on what you're using it for. There are for exchanges, there are over like 200 exchanges or 70 exchanges. Let's say 70 or more, because that's a safe place to go. Exchanges. And then for wallets, cryptocurrency wallets, you're talking about 30 or more cryptocurrency wallets. And then you have what's called hot storage or cold storage. So depending on if you're moving into hot storage or cold storage, that changes the level of security on your cryptocurrency keys. So there are a lot of moving parts. And this is something, again, we discussed in the IEA Crypto Bulls group, because we all recently got, anyway. So you just have to make sure that you're paying attention to not only the platform you're using, but why you're using it. Because the reason why there's so many platforms, certain platforms you can't buy certain coins. And so you might have to get 2, 3, 4, or 5 different platforms just so you can actually purchase the coin that you want. And if you're buying it on an exchange or inside of a wallet, it's a whole nother story. So just to answer the question, it depends on what you're using it for. And it's a good platform. It just depends if it's great, what you want it to be used for.
Yeah, crypto.com is fine. Like it works. Like I know people that, I don't use it, but I know people that use it. But like Brent said, the main thing about all these exchanges is knowing what coins they offer. Because I use Robinhood, Binance.us, and Coinbase. And I'm actually about to open a Kraken account too. Because not any one exchange trades all 12,000 coins. So there's some on Coinbase that are not on Robinhood. There's some on Robinhood that are not on, say, crypto.com. So you're gonna have at least 3 different exchanges. So yeah, crypto.com is fine. It's just, make sure it has the coins that you want to trade. So yeah, now to why I chose Ethereum. Main reason is that Ethereum hit its all-time high a week and a half ago on May 10th. It is down 40% from a week and a half, 40% discount from its recent high. That's the number one reason. But the number 2 reason is that, so if people aren't too familiar with how this whole crypto thing works, or the Ethereum platform is like Microsoft Windows is to computers, right? It's like the foundation for the crypto world. Because again, we're not going to go too deep into it, but every crypto coin is associated with a technology platform underneath. And
well, Leon, not all.
Not all. Well, yeah, that's not most crypto coins are associated with the technology platform underneath. And Ethereum is the biggest, the baddest, the largest technology platform out there in the crypto world. So again, the only analogy I can really think of is Ethereum like Microsoft is to computers. It's kind of like the baseline. Now there are others out there. There are many other platforms out there, crypto platforms out there that people use, but Ethereum is the foundation. And they're actually upgrading the Ethereum platform to what's called Ethereum 2.0, which is going to add a whole lot of new features, going to greatly reduce the fees for it, and make it a whole lot faster. So, and that's going to happen by the end of this year. So that's why. So my pick today is Ethereum, and those are the reasons why.
Yeah. So Leon's pick today is Ethereum. When you check it, ETH-USD. My pick today is Ford Motor Corp. The ticker symbol super easy. It's just F. In today's society as a whole, whether you're using Robinhood or not, even though Robinhood is the only one we've really found that on. When we first started Investing Education Academy, we had people who were getting what's called the ADRs, which are American Depository Receipts. And they were putting in stock symbols, trying to get the common stock, but then they were end up purchasing the ADR because they read the name, it looked close enough, and they didn't, they weren't very familiar with stocks, so they would end up buying these American Depository Receipts. And, you just to say, investing is becoming more complicated. So you have to check what you're buying, read through it. Don't just click the button and think, okay, I know what it is, because there are a lot of people out here who are making mistakes, and mistakes in this game can really cost you a lot of money. So that's a tip from IEA to
yeah. And another quick example of that is that all of us are familiar with, that we're actually using right now, is Zoom. There was a company called Zoom Information. It was Zoom something before the Zoom that we all know went public. Their ticker symbol was ZOOM. And then Zoom, that we all know, the video company, came public, and their ticker symbol is ZM. Mm-hmm. Well, because a lot of people didn't know, they were just saying, okay, I'm gonna go buy Zoom. They typed in Zoom and it came up. Well, the Zoom they were buying was a penny stock that essentially, well, penny stocks are penny stocks for a reason. It was kind of a crappy company for the most part. But they were buying these shares as penny stock, and the price shot up. So a lot of people ended up owning a stock that they didn't want, and didn't even realize they owned a penny stock company, and they thought they owned the Zoom that we all know. So yeah. So again, just be careful when you type in that ticker. Just read what you're buying before you actually buy it.
Yeah, and for anybody who's listening, it's been asked in the chat, how do I join the IEA Crypto Bulls? You can go to www.ieacryptobulls.com, and you can join right there on the website. You can join. Again, our group right now, Leon and I's group, is cohort number 1, and it's filling up pretty quick. We haven't really advertised it except for here. So we're at like 13 members, 12, 13 members. When we get to 25-ish, we're going to shut the group down, and we're going to start a second cohort. The second cohort will be $300 per month. And just one thing I did not mention, when you purchase IEA Crypto Bulls membership, you actually get membership to IEA's original platform to learn about stocks, investing, other investments. So you do get membership also to the Investing Education Academy stock community, and you get full access at the community level to see what we're posting, stocks we're watching, because we actually post stocks inside of our platform for people to watch. And again, this is about diversification. Like Leon and I, we haven't like left or abandoned stocks, and now we're like full out cryptocurrency. As you heard, Leon, he was like, he's not going beyond a certain amount. I really see it as, the stock market now is where I'm putting my investable assets. The cryptocurrency space is where I'm putting curious and some risk capital. I'm still reserving a lot of risk capital for the stock market because, it's a more stable platform right now. But I'm not an idiot, and I realize what's happening in this cryptocurrency space. So at some point, this is like the most millionaires have ever been made in history. So you can watch from the sideline if you want. I mean, Leon has a friend who went from like $5,000 to $1 million in less than a year. I have a friend who took a plane ride and like from DC to Columbia made $16,000 on a $2,000 investment. And then within 3 days was up 67,000 just playing the cryptocurrency marketplace. So there are other people though. There's some people on the other side of that story. So if you're interested, when we hit that number, the IEA Crypto Bulls is designed to go fast. And like I said, Leon and I are mining right now. We're making coins as we talk, and we're doing it with our cell phones. What are you doing with your cell phone right now? It's like,
and we learned about, and that's not something Brent and I knew about. We learned about it from a member of IEA Crypto Bulls. So but like I said, we don't know everything. Like we started the Bulls for that reason, because we don't know everything. Crypto is so new. We're learning in there as well. So and that's a very good point, that if you join the Crypto Bulls, you also get community level membership to the IEA stock community, which is IEAmembers.com. You also get a community membership to that. And like Brent said, that gives diversification. We're not putting all our money in stocks. We're not putting all our money in crypto. We're well diversified across both. And like Brent said, we're not idiots. we're putting more into the stable stock market than we are into the more volatile crypto market. But we do diversify. So yeah, just know if you join the bulls, you also get membership to IA included in that as well.
Yep. So everybody, we thank you. And Almi, what would you like to say before we go?
Oh, thank you so much for joining me and for allowing me to share my little input tonight with the crypto. And for those out there who joined us live, really take the time, watch the playback, and see how we can help you in your investment journey as well.
Yep. And if you see a post coming up or you see somebody sharing something, it's a good chance it's Almi. So now you have a face to like, where are all these new posts coming from? And it's her. She's doing a great job. We're super proud of her. And I'm going to call her out real quick. None of your contributions have been little. Please never use that word again. Every contribution you give can impact somebody in a way we don't even know. So never, ever, ever consider anything that you give to the world little. So with that being said, I will say, everybody, thank you for being with Investing Education Academy. We will see you next Wednesday. If you are interested in joining either Investing Education Academy or IA Crypto Bulls or both, you can go to ieanow.com and you'll find our traditional platform there. And if you're looking at the IA Crypto Bulls, it's www.ieacryptobulls.com and you can join that there. Everybody have a beautiful day.